Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to take this stack of sheet metal and we're going to build that piece for the trunk where that heat exchanger is going to go. Y'all sit back and enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back. Long time since I did a video, but we're actually going to attempt to get some progress done today. Real progress, actually working on the car. So here's some sheet metal we ordered. And this took forever to get around to ordering it, and then it took a while to come in. But we got 10 pieces of this. It's like, I think it's 3/4 inch, 1/8 inch wide, or 1/8 inch thick. And then we got some sheet metal. This is what we're going to close the trunk in with. So we got these two long pieces that'll go left to right, and these two shorter ones will go front to back. Basically to build a little box that welds to the car. This will be our flange, and then we can bolt whatever we want to it for heat exchangers. So we'll get started on that, and I'll show you how we do it. Alright, so I kind of didn't film anything so I could make progress a little bit quicker. But I got these 4 pieces tack welded into the car, sort of. So this front piece, I basically tack welded the corners. So if you zoom in up here, you'll see there's kind of a tack that glues that piece to the car. On the other side, you got the same thing. And I did that for the back as well. And then these 2 side pieces are tack welded to the front and the back. So they're not actually tacked to the car yet. But that gets all 4 pieces installed. Just, temporary, tacked up, whatever. But we made that progress. And we're going to put a flange in here next. Let me show you what we're doing on that. Alright, so for the flange, I just bought this material, got a bunch of it, and I'll show you how we're doing that. So we've already started on it, but what we did, we got these 2 pieces to fit, and then every 2 inches I put a mark. Let's see if this really shows up under the camera. You can actually see I center punched the holes already. But basically I just took like a ruler and a pencil and a caliper. Yeah, you can kind of see a straight line going down the middle. I did that with a caliper. Used a ruler to throw a mark every 2 inches. And then a center punch, which sadly my little punch broke. Man, I made this thing in high school and it got all rusty from a Hurricane Katrina, and I actually got it working again, and the little cap broke off. Kind of makes me sad, but I still used it to punch all these holes, and now we're drilling these. So I got a drill with a crappy drill bit, but this is a .201 inches, which is tap drill size for 1/4 So our plan is we're going to drill all these holes. We got 2 inch spacing, so every 2 inches we'll have a threaded hole. And we're going to take the tap. I'll show you. Here it is. This is the tapper running. So this is one of those self-starting ones. These are awesome. It's only 2 flutes. That's a nice tap. So we're going to use that. You can just basically throw that in a drill and go full throttle, and it'll thread that hole in 2 seconds. I'll actually show you that when I get to that. But yeah, for now we got like 4 holes or 5 holes drilled, and we still got several left. So we're about to grind those out, and literally, sort of, and because the bit's so dull. And then we'll tap these and mock it up, and the plan is this is going to be like a flange. So this thing is going to get welded to the pieces we put in the car, and this will be like a threaded flange. So if you have like a piece of sheet metal that's holding a fan, or if you just want to blank off a section, this is what you can attach that metal to. So that's the idea. Oh yeah, I did think of a couple things I should have mentioned. So we're actually doing both of these at the same time. So you'll see I got one part clamped on top of the other. So that's kind of speeding us up. So once we drill through the first one, we just keep going and hit the second one. So that kind of speeds us things up. And you'll notice we also threw this chunk of plywood on our bench because I'm drilling until you can see there's some holes there. So basically you drill until you go all the way through the metal, and you'll start seeing wood dust come up. So once you see the wood dust, you know you've went all the way through, but that way I'm not messing up my nice benches. So just some scrap of wood, actually, looks like garbage, but works good for stuff like this, protect the workbenches. Alright, well, we got these drilled. It really only took like maybe 10 minutes, and it would have went much faster if I had a better drill bit. But this is drilling through hot roll steel. So hot roll has this like a mill scale on the outside. It's like a oxide layer of the metal from the manufacturing, because this is hot rolled. So it ends up with this like scale on it, and that stuff is pure hell on any type of cutting tool, whether it's a tap, a drill bit, an end mill, whatever you're doing. And if I really cared, I would have ground all that off, but I didn't. I just ran the drill bit like that, so it was already dull, and now it's even duller. So these took like probably 150 pounds of downward force to really get it to drill and make chips. And you can see it was making chips. It's not just dust, but it took a lot of effort, and it did go kind of slow. But hey, we got these drilled. So basically now we're just going to unclamp these, go over here to the vise, clamp them in the vise, and put our tap in the drill and start power tapping these. Which I didn't mention it, but the reason we're doing this, it just makes things easier. So instead of, if you didn't do this, say I just drilled 1/4 inch holes, I could run 1/4 inch bolts, but now you've got a bolt on one side, a nut on the other, and since this is inside of a trunk, you're gonna have hell getting to the nut on the bottom side. And I know you can, like, maybe you can put a wrench on the top and let it kind of hit something and then get under the car and put the nut on and tighten it with a socket, but that's just a pain in the butt. So by doing it this way, we had to drill a hole anyway, so we just used a little bit smaller of a bit, a .201 instead of a .25, which is like a number 7, I think. So that part really isn't any slower or faster, but you do add the time of tapping these. But I'll show you that when you have the right tools, I bet I can tap all of these holes in probably 5 minutes. That might sound like an exaggeration, but I'll tell you what, we'll time it and we'll see how long it takes. I bet it goes quick. And this will save us time when we're working on the car. Anytime we got to remove and install fans or heat exchangers or whatever's back there, you know, we can do everything from the top inside the trunk. Make it nice. Yeah, one thing I'll show you before you do threads, you want to get cutting fluid. So this is called Tap Magic. This one works great. You just put this on the tap and it's like makes threading everything easier. Keeps the tap sharper longer, less effort. It's a good idea if you're tapping stuff. Use this, works really good. So as you can see, we just threw a little bit of this on the bit or on the tap. That'll keep it doing good. Alright, so as you normally do, we're going to do one-handed power tapping while filming with your other hand. So, see how good this works. Well, now you see what I mean about we'll have all these done in 5 minutes. Alright, so we got all this tapped. Now, remember that one we put underneath that we drilled? So, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it doesn't really show up that great. A couple of these holes ended up being kind of ovalized. This is an example of one. It's hard to see, but they're still okay. These threads aren't going to be quite as strong since some of these were slightly ovalized. I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe the bit was just like wobbling or the material was moving or something. I don't really know. So maybe in hindsight, if you're going to run threads, don't do that. But it was probably a setup problem. I think that's probably all it was. Maybe that bottom piece was moving or something. Or maybe just because the bit was so dull, it was kind of like shaking the metal, so the top of it ended up ovalized. But you can still see even in, I'll try to find a good, like this one looks bad. But then when you actually look in the hole, you can still see threads. It looks okay. So I'm sure it's fine, but figured I'd show you guys that. The other thing, the actual reason I was going to do this is, so I just got done tapping this, you know, but here's the thing, this tapping fluid is real corrosive. So what I do is take some brake parts cleaner and just spray the bit off, kind of knock all this tapping fluid off, because that crap's corrosive and it'll dull the bit over time. So do that. Now the bit's clean, which granted it'll rust, but at least it won't corrode. Now I'll just spray some like WD-40 or something on it so it won't rust, and then I can throw it back in the bin. Okay, we got this sucker tacked in there. Got our 2 flanges on the bottom, front, back, left, and right. Check this out. Now we've got a little enclosure we can mount heat exchangers. So we still got to weld this thing out. As you can see, these sides aren't even welded. They're just laying up against the metal. I don't have my MIG set up right now. The switch is going out. I might see if I can get it to work, and I'm having a hard time finding a switch for it, but the rest of this would be much easier to MIG. So if I can't do that, the gentleman next door offered to let me use his MIG welder, so I may use that. That'll have to be later, but yeah, check this out. Little 3/4 inch flange, tapped holes. You can see it, you know, you got a flange on either side now, so it'll be easy to put whatever we want back here. We're going to start off by putting that trans cooler, but you can tell this is a big ass opening, so in the future, if we need other heat exchangers to package back here, whatever they are, we'll have some space. So for now, you'll probably see, you know, say this 1/3 of it over here, that'll be your heat exchanger for the trans. The other section, we'll just put a blank off plate, bolt that in to seal it up. But yeah, this turned out okay. Man, it's kind of a pain welding back here and fitting sheet metal. This isn't really my forte, so I'm just kind of, I'm getting it done, but it ain't turning out perfect. If you look at the fitment of that to that, that's actually pretty good. And up there, that's actually pretty tight. That was the second one I did. So here's the first one I did. You can see there's a gap. I can kind of see the focus isn't great, but there's a gap. And over here, it just shot past it. I didn't even butt to it. So yeah, the second one turned out better than the first. But you know, it's in the trunk, so try not to worry about it. Functionally, this looks like it'll do the intended job. Alright guys, check this out. We just got it welded out. So the box is welded out and it's welded to the car. So if you come over here to the side, you'll see we kind of stitch welded that to that side of the frame. That little corner up there, same thing on the other side. That corner, and then we're stitch welded to the side. And then within the box itself, it's like these corners, those are welded out, as you can see there. And then we're stitch welded this flange with the threaded holes. And check that out. Turned out great. Weld it out. There's that one. So yeah, we got this thing knocked out. Now we got about, I think it's like 27 inches across, and I want to say it's like 17 or 18 the other way. So we got quite a bit of room. As you can see, the exhaust on the underneath it. Pretty good amount of space. So we'll probably use about a third of this to a half of this for the trans cooler. And we're just going to put a piece of sheet metal to blank off the other section, but we'll have that in the future. So if we decide to add, you know, it could be anything. It could be another oil cooler. It could be an auxiliary cooler for the radiator. It could be anything, you know. Don't want to spoil it because I got some other ideas, but yeah, we'll actually have space. And this will be nice. This will make, you know, in the future, if I decide to delete say I get rid of the auto and I go to a manual, or I go to a different auto or whatever, if I want to change heat exchangers, I don't have to weld anything. You know, this heat exchanger back here will be bolted in, so I literally just unbolt it, remove it, you know, design whatever's going back here, and then I'll have this flange to bolt right to, so it'll make it easy. So this is going to be an upgrade that I expect will stay in the car for a while. And now it looks like we probably need to paint it. So I haven't figured that out. I guess it needs to be sprayed, but that'll require masking, which I hate doing. I guess it's really not, I don't want to do it, but it's probably not hard to do. So I suppose that's what will happen. But yeah, boom, finally made some project on the Miata, or finally made some progress on the Miata. There we go. Alright, I'll take it easy. Alright guys, check this out. So I bought this fan probably almost a year ago. A buddy of mine found it for a fairly good deal. And I bought it, and it worked for somewhere between 8 and 10 minutes, and it broke. The pulley had failed, so it had a plastic pulley on it, and since it failed so quickly, I'm guessing the guy that sold it to me, he'd probably changed the pulley or something, or just stuck something on it. But anyway, it broke, and then it sat because I couldn't find the pulley anywhere. So eventually I designed a new pulley, and I have a 3D printer, so I 3D printed a pulley, and that worked for, I'm gonna say 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that, and it broke. So then the fan sat for a while, and I kind of got tired because this is a giant fan. This is a 48 inch fan. You know, anyway, real good fan. This thing moves 17,000 CFM. So it's a high performance fan. And I finally decided to fix it. So I ended up getting a pulley CNC machine. You can kind of, I don't know if it's going to show up on a camera. Nope. But there's a nice little CNC pulley in there that's not really showing up. But I did get that pulley made, and holy crap, got my fan back. It was definitely worth fixing. We're supposed to get AC in the shop at some point. I'm just kind of waiting on that. But for now, we have fans. This is an improvement over where we were at. Alright guys, that'll do it for today. So we got this sheet metal box in the trunk built, and now we're ready to put our heat exchanger back here. We're just waiting on that fan shroud to come in, and then we'll build a bracket to bolt it up and get the shroud on and the fan. So the next episode, you'll get to see some new parts that came in. I finally got a couple of nice upgrades showed up, so that'll be in the next video. Alright, y'all take it easy.